everybody, Jackie here, your go-to treasurer guide with MoneyMinder. I wanted to pop in today to talk about a frequently asked topic, and that is how to handle budget carry forwards from prior years. As you can see here, I'm in our knowledge base, and this is our article, and there's a nice little video on how to do it. But I think that it's very simple to understand and view, but it doesn't really give you the why and the start to finish how on showing that carry forward method. So I'm going to dive in today, and I wanted to talk, what is a carry forward? Why would you use the carry forward method? A lot of our customers, they are sports groups, scouts, parent groups, PTAs, boosters, and they hold funds for a particular group or sport that may be fundraising themselves, and they're just holding onto the funds in their organization's checking account. So those funds actually belong to the sport itself and not the overlying organization. So you need to kind of section it off and show those funds as like a running balance from year to year. Or maybe it's like a project that lasts a few years and you actually got a grant or a restricted fund donation, and you need to show that, this $5,000 in my bank account belongs to this project and it's going to take a few years to spend it. So you need to show that running total. So that's what that carry forward method is for. So here in my little practice account, you can see my financial year goes from July 1st to June 30th. So I'm pretending that I'm a parent group, right? And that I have these sports that do their own fundraising and they collect their own money, and I'm holding it for them as the parent group or the booster group, and then I'm spending it on their behalf on things that go to their club or sport. So in this scenario, I have basketball, baseball, and cheer, and I've showed you a few different ways that you can set them up. In this scenario, I'm going to assume that my organization is starting them off with $500. So this is their first year of the school. We've given them all three $500 as of June or July 1st of 2024. Throughout the year, we have logged some banking transactions. So they have done some fundraising and they have made some expenses and we've paid them. So now we're at the end of our financial year and we're going to carry forward all of these balances into 25. So let's find out where we're going to get those ending 2024 year totals to pull over into our 2025 year. So here in our banking account register, you can see I've logged all of those transactions. They've done some deposits, they've done some withdrawals, and I've logged those and I've shown the transactions going in and out of my bank account. Now if I go into the report section, I can get some actual detail. What do those transactions mean for my budget? The treasurer's report is where we're going to find that information. So I'm going to generate my treasurer's report for my financial year 2024. If I scroll down here, you can see these are my actuals versus my budget. So I've made a heading with my sports clubs that have the running total, and I've sectioned them off. This is very important because not the rest of your budget might not behave this way. So this section of my budget behaves in a way where I'm doing running totals. So here you can see my basketball. I started out with a $500. And here's the story through their year. They made some income. They made $4,000 in income through the whole entire calendar year. They spent some money. They spent $512.99. And now I can see that their ending balance for financial year 24 is going to be $3,987.01. And how did we get that figure? Well, that was the $500 we started with plus the income minus the expenses equals the ending balance of $987.01. Here with my basketball scenario, again, we started with the $500. They didn't earn anything. All they did was spend. So they spent $325 throughout the year, and now they have an ending balance of $175 left over to spend. And in this particular situation, I think this is a really great way if you have sports that maybe have coaches and they need to kind of create almost a budget within a budget. So maybe they need to know how much money they start the year off so that they can allocate it to different parts of their year. So this is a really great way to do that. Here you can see there's that starting balance of $500. You can see that the cheer team, they sell concessions. So maybe they bought $202 worth of soda and candy bars, and then they sold them at their cheer teams or the games, and they made $899.50. So you can see here on this line, this is their profit from concessions, right? So it's the $899.50 minus the $200 they spent to fund the concession, and now that ending balance is the profit, or how much they have to spend now. So that's $699.48. And then here in the tournament category, they paid for their tournament, and that cost them $2,082.49. We logged that withdrawal. That's how much it cost for the tournament. Next is fundraising. So throughout that whole entire year, they did fundraising, and I collected their deposits from their fundraising efforts, and I deposited it into my checking account, and that amount was $865.25. So I know that their fundraising for this whole entire financial year 2024 is $865.25. And then they got a $4,000 restricted donation. So there was a business or a parent, and they said, hey, here's $4,000. I want you to spend it on the cheer team. So I know it belongs to the cheer team. I logged it under the cheer team income. I received it, and now it's part of their budget. It's part of their report. So now we can see that cheer has an ending balance in 2024 of $3,982. And how did we get there? So that was the $500 initial allotment that we gave them, plus the profit that they made from their concessions throughout the year, plus the fundraising that they earned throughout the year of the $800, plus the $4,000 donation, minus the expense that they spent on their tournament of $2,082.49. And that gave them the bottom line of $3,982.24. Okay, great. So these are our end of year totals. How do we get them into 2025? So once you go through creating your new financial year in 2025, you're going to carry forward that budget from last year, and you're actually going to take these totals and you're going to plug them in to that 2025 year budget. So let's switch over to 2025, and we are going to go to our budget, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to type in this was 500. Now we're going to put in 3,987.01. That was the ending balance for basketball. We're going to change the $500 from last year to $175. That was the ending balance, so the starting balance for baseball. And lastly, we're going to rename that budget. Last year it just said starting balance of $500. We're going to rename it to carryover from last year so that it makes more sense for this year. So that's our carryover from last year, and then that's how much they started with. I wanted to kind of also show you what is it going to look like 2 months from now when you need to go to that cheer coach and show them how they're doing throughout that year. So let's pretend that we've gone through a couple of months and we've logged some withdrawals. We logged one for basketball and we logged one for cheer, and they both bought uniforms. Now I can go and I can generate that treasurer's report again, and I can show them how that running balance has changed. So I can see I started out here with basketball. Since I only use one line for basketball, it's pretty simple. I'm not breaking it down like I did for cheer. They started out with $3,987. They spent $1,000. So that means their running total is now $2,987. Basketball or baseball, they didn't do anything. So they are still sitting at $175. Cheer, they started out, I have this expanded a little bit so that I can break things down a little bit. They started out with their $3,982.24. Then down here, they spent it on uniforms, that $1,000. And then you can see here, all of those total, $3,982 minus $1,000 is $292.24. So these are just different ways you can set up those carry forward to really show, expand, or if you don't need that much detail, just putting it in one line. A few things that I really wanted to showcase and kind of hit home is making sure that you put those carry forward balances in budgeted expense. So many of our groups get confused because they really want to put that starting balance in the income section, but that's not how a budget works. A budget, you're showing what you intend to spend. So if they're allowed to spend $3,987, it needs to go in the expense column. It needs to show that they are allowed to spend that money. Okay, and using the headings to section off these different behaving budget categories is really important. So for example, with this baseball, maybe baseball doesn't do their own fundraising. Maybe you're just funding baseball. So instead of carrying forward that ending balance of 175, maybe it's a use it or lose it. They lost the 175 that they didn't use last year, and they're just starting the new year off again with that $500 that they get at the beginning of every financial year. So now they get to use that $500, and then it will reset back to $500 every year. So maybe we don't keep baseball underneath this heading. Maybe baseball is more appropriate under projects or clubs, right? Because they don't have running balances that I'm keeping track of. So this is just a really great tool to help you organize your funds and really be transparent over how you're reporting them, especially if you're being used as a pass-through or a holder of funds that don't necessarily belong to your group. I started the video off with my help article. Again, if you need more information about how to use the carry forward method, again, just click that little help icon, search the help center. I just typed in carry forward, and it actually pops it right up here. So then you can get that good article and videos and screenshots to walk you through it. So as always, I hope this helped. If you needed more information about how to use our program, again, hit that help knowledge base, or you can chat with us. We're available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And again, we live right here in that little live chat now button, and you can talk to me or one of my other teammates. And as always, I hope this helped, and thank you for subscribing.